I'm delighted to be joined by Dunloy hurler Ryan Elliot ahead of the AIB GAA All-Ireland Senior Hurling Championship Club Final, which takes place this Sunday, January 22nd at Croke Park at 1:30 p.m. The AIB GAA All-Ireland Club Championship features some of the toughest players from communities all across Ireland. It's these very communities that the players represent that make the AIB GAA All-Ireland Club Championships unique. Now in its 32nd year supporting the GAA Club Championships, AIB is extremely proud to once again celebrate the communities that play such a role in sustaining our national games. Ryan, what's the excitement like locally heading into this final against Ballyhale?
There's some buzz about Shane at the minute in the village, so there is. Everyone you're talking to is talking about the match, and the whole village is green and gold at the minute. The buzz it's exciting.
So, what do you know of the previous finals? Dunloy have been here 4 times before. And I know your dad played in goals as well in '95 and '96. Your dad Shane. What do you know of the history of Dunloy in All Ireland's?
I suppose we have a good history in the competition getting to finals, and I can't really remember. I wouldn't have been born in '95 and '96, but I can't really remember the 03-04 finals too much, just from watching back clips and that of it. But yeah, they were super teams we had back in them days, so they were.
Yeah, and how much of an influence on you becoming a goalkeeper was your dad being a goalie, or was it like you show up at training, they don't have anyone to go on goals? They're like, well, his father was a goalie, we better put him in.
I think that was the case. It was under 16, and the minor manager at the time was Gary O'Kane, and he wanted me to do nets for the minors because they didn't have enough players. So I think it was just who my father was I got put in there, but it kind of stopped from there.
Yeah, and were you sickened with it at first, or did you embrace it straight away?
No, it was one of them things. I just got on with it, and I was happy enough doing it, and happy enough doing it now.
And so, what sort of tips would your dad give you, or would he kind of let you off to do your own thing?
I think he's good at that way. He kind of lets me do my own thing. I think he knows the crack. We're playing before, so no, he lets me off. Lets me do my own thing.
And it's changed so much since he played in goals. Like, I mean, you have to be everything as a keeper now. A sweeper, keeper, your puck outs have to be short, long, variety, safe, and still obviously stopping shots as well. So it's changed so much.
100%. I think it's changing most years now, and the games went very possession based compared to if you went back then. It was more kind of you were popping the ball out and it was 50-50. But no, you kind of have to evolve with the game now, and yeah.
And is it one of those things that you embrace all these new parts of the goalkeeping role? Do you enjoy getting involved in play a little bit more?
I suppose I could always see myself as an outfielder. That's what I would tell my friends and that. So I enjoy that bit of the game too. So do yeah.
Yeah. So what's your run been like this year? I know there was the whole Schlock-Neil monkey on your back for a long time, so it was huge getting over that. Then obviously I was in watching you against St. Thomas. I thought you were superb. So what's the year been like? And did you think this could happen at the start of the year?
I suppose at the start of the year we didn't really talk about anything other than we focused on winning an Ulster title, and that was kind of, you can't really take your county for granted either. Obviously you had to win Antrim first, which is tough in itself. But now we talked about at the start of the year was we needed an Ulster title, and thankfully this year we got it. But I suppose the runs to the matches, there was a big gap between the Antrim final and the Ulster final. I think there was maybe 7 or 8 weeks. So it was a long time, like for a wait to match. I know other teams had that similar. I think Ballygunner maybe and had the same kind of problem. They had a big gap between their final and their Munster campaign. So it was something we had to deal with. We had football in the middle of that too. Our footballers won the Antrim Intermediate title, so they were training away and they were in the Ulster campaign too. So maybe that was a good wee distraction in that time.
Were you playing football as well?
No, I retired from the football, so I have a good win in the boys' play, so they do.
Yeah, and coming into the St. Thomas's game, I think because of their experience at this stage of the competition, most people were tipping them and Hadji as big outsiders. But I'm sure you had massive confidence coming in.
Look, yeah, we after the Slaughneel match, we took a lot of confidence from it, and getting into the St. Thomas's game, they're a superb team. Like, they have some of the best hurlers in Ireland. Like, so no, we had a lot of confidence going into that game, and we didn't read too much into what the bookies and everyone was saying about the match. But we just went in thinking we could win it, and thankfully we got a performance in that got us over the line that day.
And what about Keelan Malloy's unbelievable goal, bursting through and finishing to the top corner? Could you believe what was happening as he was bursting through?
Aye, that's Keelan has that in his locker, so he does. He's a special player, so he has. I don't know why I talk him up too much because I know what he's like, but no, he has that. He has that in his locker, and he's. I'm just glad he's in our team.
And is he one of the characters in the dressing room? Is he a little bit cocky? Is that what I'm getting from this?
Keelan would fairly. He would fairly love himself now. Put it that way.
So what sort of dressing room do you have? Who would be the driving forces in the dressing room, and who adds the crack to the dressing room?
I suppose there's a few boys of the crack. You have the likes of there's Ryan McGarry there, and who else would there be? There'd be Keelan and the likes, and then you have the older boys. Woody would probably be the Conor McKinley. That is, he would probably be the joker around the panel. So he would, but no, there's a good mix. There's a good mix of young and experienced ones around the team now.
Yeah, and Paul Shields coming in the last day. I know he's been carrying an injury and what have you, but he was such a steady influence when he came in. When he got on the ball, he always just seemed to know, to keep a cool head and do the right thing with it.
Aye, Paul's look. He's one of them players. He's one of the best. He's probably been hampered with injuries and that there, and he's one of the best hurlers that Antrim's produced in the last 20 years. Like he's an unbelievable player. He doesn't say much, but we know he leads by example on the pitch. So he does. He's unbelievable.
Yeah, and a handy one left now, Ballyhale Shamrocks.
It doesn't get much harder than that now.
Yeah, I mean, they've so many weapons. That's the whole thing. You probably can't just focus on saying we'll stop TJ Reid or we'll stop Adrian Mullen, because there's obviously Owen Cody, Colin Fennelly, and so on as well to worry about.
Yeah, they've played. I don't know how many All-Stars their forwards have, and they're an unbelievable team. And look, it's definitely going to be a tough challenge now.
Yeah, and I'd say they've 4 or 5, maybe even more captains of Kilkenny from down through the years as well. So it's definitely a tall order. But like, I'm sure, again, there's confidence there. Even if other people outside the camp aren't necessarily expecting much, I'm sure you have confidence that you can perform.
Look, we have confidence in everything we do, and like we're just really looking forward to the challenge that's ahead of us. It's a nice place to be. It's every club player, they want to play in a Club All-Ireland final with their club. So now it's on we're going to relish. So yeah, just looking forward to it.
So plenty of you have had experience of playing at Croke Park. Most recently, I suppose, the McDonagh final against Kerry last year. So, like, Paul, I'm sure Paul has played there before, but even just playing in the All-Ireland semi-final there as well, some of the lads who wouldn't have played that before, maybe that just takes that whole Croke Park edge out of things so you can actually show up and not have to worry about playing the occasion.
100%. I suppose a good majority of us are with the Antrim team, and yeah, we got that experience in the likes of the older ones that played for Antrim before, but it was good to get the rest of the boys that experience of playing in Croke Park. I think they've probably just realised too that it's just another pitch. At the end of the day, it's the same size as the pitch at home, but the surroundings are a wee bit different, and it was good to get them to experience that.
And I'm sure within Antrim then, you would like to be able to say we won in All-Ireland, because you might look over at the likes of Lochgiel and you can keep racking up the county titles, but in the back of their heads they're thinking, well, we've won All-Ireland. So I'm sure you'd love to even that up.
They sound like you remember that, so they do. But no, it would be nice now. But it's, as I said before, it's a tough challenge. Like we're really up against it. But
can I ask you then about Antrim, because I saw them last week against Dublin, and they're down all the Dunloy players. There's plenty there. There was a few others like maybe Kieran Clark and Connor Johnston, and maybe 1 or 2 others that weren't playing as well, but still did quite well. The other day, Darren Gleeson, who was a bit frustrated with all the wides. When you lost by 15 points to 13 against Westmeath, very low scoring game. Yeah. Where do you reckon Antrim are at heading back into this championship season, being back in Leinster? I suppose
they, just from talking to a couple of the players, they're going through a hard training at the minute. Like we're all missing, so I haven't really been a part of it. Like Darren's really good that way, that when we're with the club, we're with the club, and when we're at the county, he wants us to be at the county, which is understandable. So, no, like I'd say the lads are really looking forward to the year ahead, and I think we've got Kilkenny in the first match there up in Corrigan, Saturday the 4th, I think it is, or that weekend.
Handy.
Eh?
A handy start.
No, but look, Antrim's in a good place. Darren's really, he's really like set the standard, and I'd say that's what he's probably disappointed with the other day. Maybe he set the standard, the level's really high now, so that's where we want to be. So yeah.
And you were in Leinster a couple of years ago. I remember the game against Dublin and Navan didn't go your way at all. Dublin won quite well. Then I thought you were going to perform against Laois in that relegation playoff at Parnell Park, and again, didn't fully happen for you. But you bounced back last season and were back up. Do you think you can take anything from that campaign a couple of years ago when you were in Leinster and ultimately got relegated?
Aye, look, was that 2020 or 2021 maybe?
21, I think.
21. We put so much emphasis in the league, so we did that year. It was our first year in Division 1 for the group of players that we have, and we didn't show up at all against Dublin that day. We were really disappointed about that, and like it probably deflated us a bit getting into the Laois match. Yeah, it was disappointing that time. We thought we were going to get the Leinster group matches, and that year it was probably just coming back from COVID and the GAA didn't have time or whatever, and it was effectively 2 knockout matches, and unfortunately we dropped back down to Joe McDonagh last year.
What about that Joe McDonagh final against Kerry? You were miles ahead, and then they made some fist of coming back. You almost left it behind you. What was that like?
It was a roller coaster now. It was I don't really know what was going on. The goals were flying by me at a stage. A lot of them, I didn't really have much chance with some of them. I actually remember speaking to Podge Boyle at the Joe McDonagh awards night, and I was saying to him, like, you'll never have a penalty like that again. he had it as sweet as he could, but no, it was a great match, and there's never really much between probably about 5 or 6 teams and around that level in it, and on the day anything can really happen. So it can thankfully after their 4th goal, the ref took the ball, because I don't know where I was for putting the next puck.
Where do you think Antrim can go in the next few years? Like, you go back several years ago and it felt like it wasn't massively going in the right direction. But where do you think it's going now? And then obviously Casement Park will hopefully be reopening sooner rather than later. That might bring more positivity.
Yeah, I suppose Antrim's they've really started to get the structures right. They have a good setup with the minors. Alan Rainey's in with the minors, and Paddy Shivers is with the under-20s. And Darren's really driven that hopefully the seniors are getting players out of that. I can remember when I was under 21, even we were maybe showing up a couple of weeks before a big match of that. It wasn't really, preparation wasn't the same, and that's maybe we were fell behind a lot of counties. But now the structures are definitely there, and look, hopefully now, just probably talking about Antrim, I don't know what they've been talking about, but I would say that we don't want to be a yo-yo team that's going from the Leinster Championship into Leinster Liam McCarthy into the Joe McDonagh every other year. So it's important that we're staying at the highest level we can.
How big of a driving force is Gregory O'Kane within Dunloy?
Gregory, he's been involved in, like, Gregory's a club legend. Like, if you think of Dunloy Hurling, you're probably thinking of Gregory O'Kane. He's been involved in every single championship that the club's won, Antrim and Ulster, like from 1990 when we got our first. He's been playing or managing, so like, he's unbelievable. Like, he's just hurling in the brain. So he is, and everything he talks about is just he's about hurling, and he's very good to us now.
And what was it like in the dressing room after the Thomas's game?
It was good now. Suppose you have to kind of look at it as well as you're in good form, but at the end of the day, it's only a semi-final as well, and there was no trophy. There was no trophy after the St Thomas's match, and but don't get me wrong, it's always nice to win with your club in Croke Park, and we enjoyed ourselves now. Like we do, we like enjoying ourselves, but no, at the end of the day, it was only a semi-final, and now we have a final. Like.
Yeah, and then I'll do a quick little Q&A to finish off, and you can answer these questions as short or as long as you like. But what do you remember of your first time ever being at Croke Park?
First time ever, actually, I know it was at the club finals, but it was probably the Kilkenny and Cork. I think it was 05, 06 maybe. I can remember that matches. So I can.
Who's your favourite player of all time?
Can I don't know whether I can answer this.
Go on.
Well, for the club, it'd be Martin Curry, a former hero, but I always was a huge admirer of Henry Shefflin. So,
Okay. I was going to say who's been your toughest opponent, but then again, you're a goalie. So, who's been the hardest forward? If they're coming through, you're thinking, well, I'll just be picking this one up.
Oh, Jesus, I don't know. There's a lot. There's a good few now you play against. I don't know. I would say I played against my debut for Antrim was against Limerick, and that was a real baptism of fire. I think they had Aaron Gallan and Graham Mulcahy and the likes run down against me. So yeah, it was tough enough now.
What team do you most like to beat? This could be club, college, county.
To beat?
Yeah, the team you most like to beat.
You have to say Lockgill. You have to say Lockgill.
What's your proudest day playing GAA?
The proudest day is probably, say, the 2017 county final. Getting your first county medal is very special.
Who's been the biggest influence on your career?
I'd say my father.
Yeah. What's your favourite stadium to play
in? Croke Park.
What's the biggest disappointment of your career?
Probably the Ulster defeats against Lathnale.
I've probably already asked you who's the joker on the panel, but just who was it again?
Woody, Conor McKinley.
Okay. Who's the best trainer?
Conor Kinsella.
Who's the best dressed and the worst dressed?
Best dressed would be Daggy Smith, and the worst dressed would be Ryan McGarry.
And why is Ryan McGarry the worst?
He's a bit through other.
What player loves the media attention?
Kobe, Conor O'Connor.
Okay. Who thinks that the women love them?
Keelan Malloy.
2 more questions. What player from another sport do you admire?
A big Man United supporter, so I'll go Varane.
Okay, and then final question: what manager from another sport do you admire?
Ten Hag.
Ten Hag. Okay, well, look, brilliant stuff, Ryan. Best of luck in the final, and hopefully we'll be